What's up YouTube, it's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul, and continuing with the drum compression techniques on your percussion instruments, how to apply a compressor and how to change the settings properly. A lot of you have been saying you don't want it to be separated into three parts, so the tribe has spoken, the people have spoken. I am going to do it in the second part. So in this part 2, I'm going to cover the rest of the things I didn't cover from part 1. I'm going to cover it all here in part 2 because all you guys said you didn't want 3 parts. So I listened to you guys and that's how it's going to be. So let's continue on right here. Alright, so the first things we got to do is actually change some of the settings that we did in the previous tutorial, because we drastically changed some things. For example, our gain, we're going to have to bring that to back down to unity gain. So I'm just going to go hold down my option key, click it, and bring it back down to 0, and then we'll adjust it later, because otherwise your kick is going to be distorting like crazy if you leave it that high. And your ratio you're going to want to bring down as well. Now, as a general guideline for you guys to follow, you want to pretty much be anywhere between 2:1 to 8:1 ratio. So either around here to around here. That's kind of the general guideline that you want your drum percussion samples to be in, depending on how much compression you want. But as a general guideline, kind of put your ratios in that range right there. So for this tutorial, I'm going to put it down to something kind of regular, and I'm going to put it to about 4.5:1. Actually, that's 4.8:1, so I'm just going to leave it at that, because 0.1 is not going to make a huge difference. So I'm going to leave it at that. And now we're going to go ahead and adjust our threshold to make it sound sort of like a good kick. Because right now, if I hit play, it doesn't sound good at all. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and play, and then I'm going to bring up my compressor threshold to a point where it kind of sounds like a full kick, and then that's where I'm going to leave it at. So I'm going to basically just drag it up like this, slowly listening to my kick to make it sound until it sounds like an actual real kick, kind of very similar to my actual sample itself, but not really. And then once you hear it, you'll know what it is, because as I go up, you'll hear the kick kind of getting fuller and fuller until we get to the right spot. So I'm going to go ahead and play, and we'll hear how that sounds once I set the threshold by bringing it up slowly. Here we go. So right there, it sounds actually coming back to life. Here, the kick sounds very flat. It doesn't sound like a full kick. Here, it's starting to sound like a full kick. So I'm going to leave it around there. That actually sounds almost good, because it's kind of bringing in all the elements of the kick, and it's kind of getting a full spectrum of the kick right there. Yes, that's fine right there. So like I said, just slowly bring up your threshold until you feel that the kick is coming back to life, and that's where you want to leave it. You can kind of go ahead more and see what the difference is, but as soon as you hear like, ooh, that sounds good, that's where you leave it. Again, trust your ears, because if you followed me here, you would kind of see that, oh, that does sound really good where I left it. And as I'm going to hit play, take a look at my gain reduction right here. I'm kind of peaking around 8 dBs of gain reduction. Again, as a general guideline for you guys to follow, the gain reduction that you want on your percussive instruments is anywhere between 5 to 10 to 12 dBs of gain reduction. Anything more than that, you are starting to get into an overcompression. And if that's the sound you're going for, that's no worries. But if you're going for a general compression, kind of soft, kind of let it just sit in the mix nicely, you want anywhere between 5 to 12 dBs of gain reduction. And right now I'm hitting around 8. So I'm kind of in the middle. It's pretty good. I can bring that down a little bit, make it a little bit more poppin'. So that's the general guidelines where you want your gain reduction to be. So kind of always trust your ears, follow these guidelines, and you'll see that the kick will pop out to you nicely, and you will kind of start to feel, hey, I need this a little bit more, this a little bit. You'll start to feel it out as you do it. And finally, for our release is very simple. All you have to do is basically watch your gain reduction, listen to your kick, and what you want the release to do is once that kick hits, you want the release to stay on fully until the next kick hits. So when the kick hits, you want the fader to go, the gain reduction to go up, and right before the next kick hits, you want it to come down to 0, and then it will start again. So the kick will hit, it will go up, it will come down to 0, and then the next kick will hit right away. That's what you want your release to do. So I'm going to go ahead and play and find that setting. So this is obviously too quick. Still releasing too fast. We're getting there. So that's about it right there. If you do it too much, you'll see you'll get over compression and it just won't sound good. You want the release to fully release before the next kick. So somewhere around here. Yeah, so that sounds good right about there. Like I said, your release, you want it to release fully right before your next kick hits. That's how you want to set your release time. And for your knee, if you're wondering, for my percussive instruments, usually I leave it at a hard knee. But if you want to do it a little softer, you can bring it up. But basically for vocals, you're going to want to do a soft knee. But for any percussive, very high attack, very quick attack times, you can leave the knee hard. It's okay. And if you're listening to the kick and you hear that little click sound still in it, you can go ahead and change it to this one right here, and it will soften out your kick for you. But you will have to adjust your threshold and release, because it will change the compression type a little bit. But in this case, I like the way that sounds because the kick has a little bit high into it, and that's what's going to stand out in your mix and kind of have your kick kind of centered in the mix, because that's what you want in pop dance music, the kick kind of be the center thing of your little song. And just another quick tip about the compressor: you don't always need to compress every single thing. If you like the way something sounds, and you don't need compression just to apply compression. Compression is a technique to kind of make something a little bit tighter if it's not already there. Sometimes it's there. Sometimes you get samples that are really good. Sometimes they're not so good, and you got to compress and make it tighter and bump up the gain. So I'm just going to go ahead and A-B it right here, because I didn't do that yet because of all this talking. And we'll hear what actually we did, the difference between the two. This is with it on, off, on, off, and finally on. I'm actually going to just bump up the gain a little bit here because the difference in dBs was a little bit different. The volume is a little bit different. Off and on. So as you can tell right there, the actual difference is very it's a little difference, a slight difference, but that slight difference is going to make a difference in your mix, because little bits of things will make a huge difference in the end after your song is all composed and all that kind of stuff. And I cover everything. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. So there is no part 3. That's part 2. Everyone said they wanted it all in one video, so I figured, you know what, I'm just going to put in part 2 and scratch out that part 3. So that is how you set all your little settings right here in your compressor. If you have any questions on this, you can ask me in the comment section, and I'm going to shut up soon. So yeah, remember to subscribe for more good videos, because they are always coming soon, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Later.